Hello, Star Wars Galaxy of Hero players, and Tesh Shorto. Today, I'm going to be talking about Han and Chewy. And the reason why I'm talking about it is I decided to do a video kind of, giving players a chance to try these two out in 3v3. I know we just got done with 3v3. We're going into 5v5, the 1st of July, 2021. But I thought, why not let me make a video for the next preparation. I will have this up and running probably the end of July, beginning of August. Once I look up the schedule, I will upload this. So this will be recorded at the beginning of July, but it will be set up for the end of July to beginning of August range, when we get close to the 3v3 again. That's if they decide. And if it's uploaded at that time and they decide to change their mind because they're, like Heinz usually says, subject to change, yada yada. If they change their plan to go 5v5, then 5v5 again. Of course, one, I would like that, but two, sorry. But I just wanted to talk about these two because these two have a unique pairing. You got Han Solo that shoots first. That, shoots first. He has counter chance, crit chance, and he has, he's at the start, he takes a bonus turn, gets that, stun off. And against a good chunk of teams, this guy's hard to beat. And the reason why I'm doing this is to show off some good pairings with Han and Chewy, because Chewy guards, with Loyal Friend, he guards the weakest ally and Han Solo until Chewy is defeated. Like, you could pretty much pair everyone with them, but there are some various characters that work really well with them. So, and I'm going to go in and talk about these characters. I'm not going to talk about all, I'll show off the list. You'll see, who's on the list, but I may skip a little bit over some. So, but yeah, I don't want to make this, too long of a video because I have kind of a big list. But in 3v3, Chewy's just going to guard the third character. So make it a good leader or just make it a good third character. So obviously the first group of 5 is obviously Galactic Legend. You can pair them with any of the Galactic Legends and they'll really work out. I know Rey is really good with them. Jedi Master Luke and Jedi Master Kenobi maybe not as much, but they could still guard the Galactic Legend, which could trip some people up if they're used to countering in 3v3 a different lineup versus, these two with a Galactic Legend. And that's the same with Sith Eternal Emperor and Supreme Leader Kylo, if you want to put them on defense. Granted, well, I know in 5v5 Imperial Troopers beat them. I don't know. I personally don't know how much in 3v3. So yeah, there's that. But now I'm going to talk about, 5 obvious Rebel characters. Now, Commander Luke Skywalker, he's an obvious given. However, I will have to say Commander Luke is also better with C-3PO and 3-Baka. So you can actually utilize that pairing. You could use that pairing, or, if you have 3PO and 3-Baka, if you're not using your 3PO somewhere else, most likely you'll probably just be using it, with 3-Baka and CLS, because it's a really good team that, trips people up, and, because I've even gotten holds with them, and forces a higher tiered team, Galactic Legend to, say like Darth Revan and, some of those high-end characters to beat it, or, you're screwed. Jyn Erso. Surprisingly, Jyn Erso's lead isn't bad, especially if you have the Zeta, oh wait, no. Yeah, that's right, it does have a Zeta, that's right, I remember now. That's right, she does have 2 Zetas. I forget. Rebel allies have 35% potency, recover 5% protection whenever they gain a buff. Granted, this is better probably for offense than defense, and if you have Jyn geared up pretty well, especially for the ship. Enemies that suffer debuffs during Rebel allies have a 50% chance to become exposed for 2 turns. So you do have, instead running, you could throw a 3PO to spot, and it would go really well. But having Jyn in here, you could potentially, on offense, recover some of your banners, because sometimes, 3v3, some battles still get a little hairy, and if you want the best of the best rewards, this one actually isn't bad. You get more potency, so you have more of a chance to stun with Han and Chewy, reduce their turn meter, And then Han also spreads some buffs. So into the fray also allows that. Plus, let's see, Jen also stuns, removes turn meter. She also, let's see, grants advantage for 2 turns, which isn't bad either. So, and then she also, 70% chance she gains her own advantage. But Han Solo is really the best one because he also, every so often he'll be sitting there granting his, evasion up and crit chance up and crit damage up to himself. So it's always good. Lando's really good. You got the speed. Never hurts to have extra speed. Crit damage. It's kind of a weird number of crit damage, but crit damage nonetheless ain't bad. Wedge is another popular one. If you, have him relic for Jedi Master Luke. You also have, this lead's good. 30 offense. They recover the health. So at least your health is topped off, not the protection. They gain 10% turn meter on critical hits, recover 25% of their max health when they defeat an enemy. So there's a lot of health recovery. And then Wedge does have some other stats in here as well. But, he's still really good. He's still really good. With as a third. And then Akbar. Akbar is kind of because, Akbar will force Chewy Akbar will always force Chewy to assist whenever he uses an ability. But whenever he cleanses the allies, and grants up Tactical Genius, he's gonna have a chance to call in Chewie a second time or Han a time. So there could be a lot of assists out of this one. And you're giving more speed and some tenacity. Never hurts with tenacity on Chewbacca, so he can keep assisting. Especially since he does health-based damage effects. Next is a couple of more. You still somewhat going Rebels and going into Scoundrels. We got Old Ben. If he does die, he does boost. Oh, just realized I have a mod missing. Give me one quick second. I think that one. Nope, this one. Yeah, I'll just throw this one on. Whatever. Eventually I'm going to work on Old Ben because I'm going to go after Jedi Master Luke next. Old Ben lead. There's evasion. Han Solo also grants the evasion off buff, like I mentioned before. So there is, a lot of turn meter for that lead as well. I could have kept it in. Stormtrooper Han is also good, especially if he has his Zeta. He's getting his protection recovery. Han's giving protection. He's getting offense. And if you randomly do get down below 50% health, you're going to dish out a lot more damage, which is also going to, in return, also heal you more with your health steal, too. Now, Jango Fett's okay. Leader, he does give Scoundrel and allies 30 speed, so Han and Chewy are a lot faster than what they are. Enemies also have negative 20% potency on each debuff on all bounty hunter allies. So if you debuff Jango, which once he's guarded, there's 2 buffs you're not going to get, stun and daze, but all the other debuffs, there's chances for those. But he also, even just as that, he, all enemies have negative 40 tenacity. So that means you're going to hit a lot more. You're going to, stun a lot more. On top of the fact, you got Jango Fett. As long as you have his unique Zeta, he's going to prevent revives. Boba Fett. I keep forgetting. I should just go next. Same concept, but I feel like Boba Fett is better over Lando because he does so much more. He has execute. He gives more crit damage. Yes, he loses speed, but he also gives crit chance, so you can crit more, and it's a higher crit damage. So this one makes more sense. Mando, oops, wrong one. Granting speed, tenacity, and crit chance is still not bad. Granted, while he's buffed, he's going to eventually get to his contract slowly, but you're probably going to kill off the enemy by the time you get the contract. So, there is those characters. That is very useful. Next, if you wanted to, for the heck of it, you're not going to get his payout, but Bosk lead doesn't hurt at all. Granted, you're also making Bosk harder to kill. Because, yes, you can debuff with Chewie and Han, especially with also Chewie's basic does inflict tenacity down. But making him hard to be critically hit, dazed, that's huge. That's huge. So he's going to be a lot harder to deal with on defense, especially under his lead. Dengar, he's another unique one. He does like to go under stealth a lot, so the ones that'll mostly be hit would be Han and Chewy. Bounty Hunter allies, have 50% health still. I kind of wish it was Scoundrel, but what can you do? In addition, enemies have negative 50% critical damage. And once Dengar, gets his contract, I'm sure, in some battles he might, but most battles, Han and Chewy just knocked him down. If he does, the enemy team is going to, do less damage. So this is not a bad leader. It's just more for making the enemy team, do less damage. Mando, this one's an obvious one. So Scoundrel allies will get, so it'll be 15, just with the three of them, 15% health, max health protection and offense. So it's not bad. And then whenever an enemy is taking damage, you're gaining turn meter. So that's going to be a pretty solid setup. Plus he spreads around, damage immunity. He equalizes protection and recovers protection. So this is another good, well-rounded character. I feel like this one's definitely also awesome on defense because you can't stun I think you can't even stun. I don't think you can. He's immune to ability block, but now you can't stun him or daze him. And he's immune to ability block and has 40% tenacity and potency. So pretty solid there. Clone Wars Chewy, if you really need it, you have extra defense. And gain defense up, an extra buff. Nothing too special. Kira's obviously another one that's really good. So Han and Chewy will both get, 30%, 30% offense over their turns, plus have the crit chance and recovering protection on their critical hits. So this is another good defensive and offense. I would also recommend her to be, if you have Han Chewy Relic, unless you're low mid game, mid to low high end game type area, she's definitely a good defense as well as offensive and a way to recover banners. So here's where I'm going to start going kind of skimming over. General Skywalker, you got the leadership to prevent revives. That's really what it's there for. Plus, he can't be critically hit, so it's going to be harder to deal with. A lot of Galactic Legend counters, require General Skywalker and Chewie. If you, mod 5s right, tank him up, make him guarded and stuff like that. There are those tricks. Darth Vader, just imagine an assist on all of his abilities. Just, Merciless Massacre goes around and he's doing damage. And even if he doesn't kill, this is actually good in 5v5 if you can, pull it off right. He's going to just sit there and pop off, do those extra damage. But then again, in 5v5, you want to keep, Han and Chewie with CLS. Darth Revan. Darth Revan can't be assisted against. He can only be damaged once. I kind of wish he was a little more bulkier, but, his ferocity. But, whenever you can potentially deal with the leader, with Death Mark, once, one of the enemy gets under 50% health. Jedi Revan helps you get around taunters so you can mark. So you can, if you get stuck behind one of those Vandor Chewy teams in 3v3, you can pair those two with Han and Chewy with Jedi Revan, mark Vandor Chewy, take him down. Then again, go ahead and mark Nest. If Nest is part of that team, take her down because he reduces max health if they have protection up and bonus protection. Not active, but maxed out. You're still granting 15% crit chance, crit damage. It's not going to hurt. You're going to lower their speed. This whole kit, you would actually have a pretty much Return of the Jedi team right there. Luke, Han, and Chewie would just be going to town on people. I'm surprised I haven't seen it on defense because I'm pretty sure it could trip some people up. So, also Jedi Revan does have in his unique granting extra offense and tenacity and stuff for Chewie and Han. Let's see. Another, plug-and-play leader is Darth Sidious's 15 crit chance, 30 crit damage. He'll get stacking offense, but, Han and Chewie won't, but Darth Sidious is, protected, which isn't bad. It'll actually help him out more. Padme is not bad, giving, Han and Chewie more bulk, and helping keeping them cleansed up and all that. So it's not bad. And that crit immunity is really, really solid. Especially even with like Darth Nihilus. If you needed, Darth Nihilus to go and you don't have any extra tanks, this one isn't a bad setup. You're protecting Darth Nihilus so he can get to his Annihilate better. You're keeping him healed up with Chewbacca, so it's not a bad deal. Rex is just the best. I feel like he's still the best plug-and-play lead ever, just because of his turn meter gain. It's been buffed, especially if you have some of the 501st Allies clones with them, like at least 5s with them, and then running something else. I do love using him on 5v5. I haven't used him in a while, though, but 5v5 Rexalate, Rex, 5s, Echo, R2, and Zaris. Solid team. And then Moff Gideon reducing the damage. He's only getting the max health and protection. But aside, and the offense, he does get offense too, because of the Imperial Trooper. But protecting him so that he can weaken the enemy team with the Demoralize. Negative 50% offense, crit 25% crit chance, crit damage, weakening them. That makes it easier for you to do more damage to the enemy and knock them down. So there's a lot more, Wampa and Ness. I'm going to kind of pair them together. They make sense to, protect them. They're really hard to deal with and versus a lot of teams. So there's nothing wrong with having those two guarded with Chewie and with Han. General Kenobi's another solid lead. Barriss is really good because she also, her and Han can't be critically hit when Chewbacca's around. But, a lot of people want to go focus on Chewbacca. So if he's also modded not just with tenacity, but also health, some health primaries, Barriss can help keep him alive so that he's keeping the other two alive, which is kind of, nice. And then Kuil, he boosts scoundrels and stuff. He doesn't have a lead, but what can you do? Same with Wampa and Nest, but what can you do? Malak isn't too bad of an option. He doesn't taunt as often. Just because, he can't, he taunts when an enemy is inflicted with fear. And one of the things is if he's inflicted with damage over time or is critically hit, you're taking one of those chances out. So if he's ever damaged over time, he'll taunt. But if not, he won't. Plus, it makes him, tankier to deal with on the other side. I don't know why I have Vader in here twice. I apologize. Ignore that. Savage. He's granting defense and tenacity to Han and Chewie. Not bad. Keeps him alive longer. I still wish you had a little bit of a light touch-up to get more bulkiness and a little more damage. Just a tad, maybe 10-15%, more health and protection. But then 25% more offense, crit damage, and damage penetration. But what can you do on that one? Wat Tambor, the tank tech on Chewie, so you can keep cleansing him up, and he's going to be going a bunch. The attack tech on Han, because you want him to just do the damage. And the tank tech also helps keep Chewie alive, so he can keep doing more damage to keep both Wat and Han alive. And then last but not least, if you actually want to put the OG Chewie in the lead, he can spread that high tenacity around, making, Chewie harder to be debuffed. But, this one's another solid one if you really wanted to try something and run CLS with R2 and 3PO, just to mix things up, see what happens. I kind of want to try that the next time around, so we'll see how that goes. But aside from that, that is kind of the list. There's tons more options, but these are some ones I would suggest looking into trying out to pair with Han and Chewie in 3v3. These two characters are great, but I feel like they can, go the extra mile. If you want them for offense, great. There's some options for offense, and there could be some options for defense as well. We just have to see, who tries these other teams out. I actually have tried Malak. Yes, he's been one shot, but I realize every time I'm facing someone, it's always a someone, you know, at the time, I didn't have my Galactic Legend yet. They had their Galactic Legend. And then I go later on looking, and they, 80% of the time, if they haven't put on defense, 80% of the time, they use a Galactic Legend to take out the Malak, Chewy, and Han. Just, you know, because they don't want to deal with it. That could be a tricky, you know, team to deal with. A tankier Malak that's just going to start draining life and doing even more damage. Yeah. Drain life could also weaken an enemy all the way down to a sliver, and then Chewie just finishes them off. Yeah, there's that. But yeah, there's some teams you just gotta, you know, trade up. These guys trade up. Anything you pair with Han and Chewie in 3v3, they trade up. They don't trade down, they trade up, which is solid. So, but other than that, thank you for watching. I really appreciate all those that watch the videos I make. You know, let me know in the comments below any other leads you could think of that would actually be very beneficial. Actually, here's one I just thought of right here. Fives. Whoops, that's not the lead. You know, he's giving 25% defense, but he counters a ton. A ton. So, yeah, you lose out the synergy with him in the 501st clones, but you got a taunting tank, and he'll taunt pretty often. So, yeah, what can you do? Again, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, and you guys have a phenomenal day.